Hello everybody and welcome back. So this is going to be the start right here to a new series on this channel, whereas each month, preferably, this one's a little bit later than I was hoping for, but preferably I'm going to have it a couple days after the games go up, but I'm going to be talking about each game that comes to PS Plus every single month. And on these videos, you're going to be seeing footage of the PS4 games. I do not have a capture card for PS3 and I have no idea how to get Vita footage. So, as I'm talking about everything, you're going to be seeing footage from those games, and I'm going to kind of just go into each game, talk a little bit about reviews that are already out there, and just what I think of the games. Alright, so we're going to start with the PS4 games, and we're going to start with Hardware Rivals. So I played, went through the tutorials, which playing the tutorials, I actually like this game. I thought it kind of controlled neat. I like the car combat. It was when I got into the multiplayer, then I played a couple matches where I was just like, I really do not like this game. So right now, this is sitting at a 54 on Metacritic, and I completely agree. I think it controls for the most part fine. It's really just when you're shooting at other cars, it's really hard to hit them. It takes tons of hits to kill anybody, and you pick up these power-ups, but in the power-ups you can lock onto people with, but they only give you a couple. So let's say you pick up 2 rockets, and you hit a guy with both those rockets. You're not going to kill him with those rockets. You're going to have to continue to shoot him, and either you have like a machine gun and you're shooting from like a jeep, or you're in a tank and the tank's impossible to hit anyone. So the maps are neat. It's a really neat idea. I think that either health needs to be lowered a little bit to make it a little more fun and competitive, or I'd like to see some changes. 'Cause I think this game, as it's a neat idea, I think it could be really fun if I was just driving around shooting targets. I didn't look too deep into the other modes, so there could be a single player mode, but it's very much multiplayer focused, and I'm not a fan of it. So I would say pass on this game unless you really want to try it out. Next up is Grim Fandango. This is a game that I've heard, a ton about, and I thought about picking it up. I've seen it on sale for a couple bucks on PlayStation. It's one of those games that I'm just like, whatever. And it comes to PS Plus, so I'm not regretting not buying it. I put maybe, let's say, an hour and a half in, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I like the art style. I like the characters. I think it's funny. It's sitting at a 84 on Metacritic right now, and I think I agree with that. I like the game. I think it's good. I think the story is going to be really neat. I'm excited to play more of this game, and I hope to beat it. So far, a couple of the puzzles I think have made sense. The rest of them are just nonsense. I don't know how in the world I would have figured this game out. Some of it just doesn't make sense why I would do these certain things. Like, you'll probably see footage from this, but you have to clog up these machines, you have to clog up these machines, and you have to fill balloons with this compound. But you have to go to this random guy and ask for balloons, and it's just like, I can see if I'm, sitting there and trying to figure every little thing out, but I would not have been able to figure this out without a guide. So I think it's an interesting game. I'd say definitely have the guide up if you're planning on playing it. I really think you're going to be stumped if you do not have the guide up. But honestly, I have no idea how this game was played back in the day. Alright, moving on from PS4 to PS3, we have Dragon Age Origins, which right now is sitting at an 87 on Metacritic, and I really, really loved this game back in the day. I remember back in 8th grade, I broke my ankle really bad. I was, in a wheelchair for weeks, completely shattered it. And this is one of the games that I borrowed from my neighbors, and I really loved this game. It's really fun. If you played Inquisition and you haven't tried out any of the other games, I really recommend this, because I only ever played a little bit of Dragon Age 2, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I've heard lots of other bad things of people that played a lot more than I did, so I would say that's not a good point to jump in. I think this is perfect. If you still have your PS3, I'd say dust that thing off and plug it in. Or if not, at least download this and keep this in your library, because I think this is a cool game to jump back into at some point, especially if they're making more Dragon Age in the future. But one thing to warn you guys about this game, I mean, this was, 6 years ago or whatever, but I remember that final boss being impossible. I mean, I won't go into any spoilers about what you're fighting or whatever, but I just remember playing over that fight 30, 40 times. Like, it was ridiculous. I just could not beat him. I finally did in the end, but it took me way, way too many tries. So moving on to the other PS3 game we have is Medal of Honor Warfighter, which is sitting at a 55 on Metacritic. I did not play many many first-person shooter games on PS3, mainly because they just never seemed to run very well. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't even download this game, didn't even try it out. Another reason is I just heard so many bad things about it. Like, I have just zero interest in this game whatsoever. I'd say if you really loved the older Medal of Honor games, it might be worth jumping into, but it's not even, I don't think it's even like those, because it's not like reliving those great not great World War II memories, but those, really intense World War II games. It's not even like reliving that, because you're playing in this, it's a modern war shooter, so it's just, I don't know, I have no interest in this game. I don't know many people that were excited to hear this game was on there, so I'd say this game is an easy pass on this list. Coming up next is a game that I had to practice saying the name a couple times, and it is Nihilumbra. And I hope I'm saying that correctly. That is sitting on a 73 on Metacritic, and I've only played maybe an hour of it so far, and I really like this game. Like, it really reminds me of Limbo. I won't go into, just comparing it to Limbo, I think, is the best compliment this game can get. It has a really beautiful art style. I think it looks incredible on the Vita. It's a cool Unity platformer. There's, little, not power-ups, but, you're touching you touching the screen and making things happen, and I think it fits very well on Vita. I would say this is definitely one that if you are already playing a game on your Vita right now and you want to wait on this one, I'd say definitely put in your library. But if you don't have anything at the moment, I'd say try this one out. I've heard it's relatively short, so I'd say it's worth a play. Coming up to our final game, it is Legends of War Patton. So this was hard to even find a Metacritic number on. So I looked up Legend of War Patton on Vita. There had only been one review, so there isn't a Metacritic number. I looked it up on, I think it was on PS3, and there was 2 reviews, so there wasn't a Metacritic number. The only number I could find was for the 360 review, which actually I think only had, you need 4 reviews on Metacritic for them to give you the average, but I don't think there was much higher than that number-wise. But this has a 51 on Metacritic, and I did not like it. I think it doesn't look very nice on Vita. It's a strategy game, and you're playing, Wars from History in a strategy game, and it's just, if you want to play a strategy game, you can do so much better. Like, I would much rather spend $50 on a strategy game that is a little bit better than this one than to play this one. Like, I really didn't like it. I ended up playing the tutorial and turning it off and deleting it from my Vita. I really did enjoy it. I don't think this is going to appeal to that many people. I think there's already a lot of really good strategy games out there, and this is not a good choice. So in all, I think it wasn't a horrible week. It brought Grim Fandango, which is a game I've been looking forward to. Nihilumbra, which I think is a really awesome game that I probably would have never tried without the PS Plus, free game system. And then also, even though I had already played, I think Dragon Age Origins is a really awesome addition for people that have maybe, jumped into Inquisition as their first game in the series and never played the older one. I think it's a really awesome earlier not early BioWare game, but early in what they're doing now in these, systems with Mass Effect and Dragon Age. So, it was an okay month. not horrible, but definitely not great. I'm really hoping next month is going to be better. Well, thanks guys for listening to my thoughts on these free PS Plus games, and tune in soon for some more videos.